I said, who is the richest man in 2000? They could not say. Okay, some people feel power is success. I should have a very powerful position. In fact, I did an exercise recently with the principals of CBSE schools. 49 principals I had in Rajkot. I told them, write down the names of all the Prime Ministers of India. Give a piece of paper, give them 2 minutes time. You try it home, when you go back home, try it. Write down the names of all the fortunately we don't have a long list of Prime Ministers. If I ask American President, they are long, 44. India is very small. I asked them, believe me, out of 49 people, 36 could not write all the names. I don't say that general knowledge is bad. They are not worth remembering. Those who are to be remembered are remembered. Those who need not be remembered are not remembered. If I do a workshop in Dehradun, they would invariably forget Deve Gowda's name. If I do in South, they forget the name of Chaudhry Charan Singh or I.K. Gujral or S. Chandrasekhar. They forget the name. Those who incidentally became Prime Ministers are not remembered. Those who became Prime Minister by their effort and contributed something to society are remembered. So therefore the power per se is not important. All of them are Prime Ministers. No? Then why are they not remembered, all of them? Nehru is not forgotten. If I ask the list of presidents of India, nobody would forget Dr. Kalam. May forget the previous president, but not the previous president. They won't forget. The reason is that the man who contributed to society. Therefore, it is not the money, it is not the position. Sometimes I feel some people feel physical strength. I have seen some people. They feel they should be 6 feet 8 inches in height, 4.5 feet wide, walk like a bulldozer on the road, and they want to conquer the whole humanity by power, physical power. I have seen a person called Muhammad Ali. You would have seen, sir. In the US, I have seen him a number of times. Muhammad Ali, 6 feet 4 inches devil. He was a heavyweight champion. He must have punched every nose that came in front of him. And he declared in 1967-68 that I'll conquer the world by power. I'll conquer the world by power. He became a heavyweight champion. You can't be champion all the time. I saw him year before last in the US. He had come to Chicago. He had to climb 2 steps and climb on the platform to do a promotion activity. Believe me, he could not come. He is suffering from Parkinson's disease. His hand shakes, face shakes. To drink a cup of coffee, somebody should hold his neck, somebody should hold the cup of coffee, then he can drink. Was he not the same man who was saying, I can conquer the world by power? Where is that power now? So power is not success. Many people thought they can conquer the world by power. Hitler thought so, Mussolini thought so, Napoleon Bonaparte thought so, and then Alexander the Great thought so, Osama bin Laden thought so. We can conquer the world by power, and all of them miserably failed. In fact, there is an interesting dialogue, beautiful dialogue, my friends. It was Saint Helena. Saint Helena, that Napoleon Bonaparte was captured and imprisoned there. There is a dialogue between him and his friend. Napoleon is now bowed down by repentance. I killed so many people by wars. He tells his friend, I am getting light of the world now. I had so much power. I thought I can conquer the world by power. Many people before me also thought. But one young boy came here and won the 2/3 of humanity by his love and affection, by compassion. He is talking about Jesus Christ. A man did not have a single weapon in his hand. He touched people's heart only by love, compassion, and giving, joy of giving to them. And he is remembered, and I will not be remembered. I did not become successful in life. He became successful. Tell me, finally, who won? The might or the love? And finally he says, friend, remember this. Don't try to be Napoleon Bonaparte. If possible, try to be Jesus Christ. The love of giving, joy of giving is so wonderful. They learned a lesson. And some people think that I can become successful by becoming famous. Your name should come on the paper for right or wrong reasons every day. And some people are there. They love to see the photograph on the first page. Do all circus to come there on the first page. But now tell me, I had done this exercise. I'll ask you also. St. Xavier College, Mumbai. I thought Mumbai boys and girls are closer to cinema world. They will answer question very quickly. They looked happy also. I asked them, who was the hero number 1 of Hindi movies in 1940? 1940. You know the name? Who was? Because at that time Prithviraj Kapoor also had not come. Raj Kapoor, Devanand, they were all later. Prithviraj Kapoor and K.L. Saigal also acted for some time. He came in 46. I'm asking 19. No, sir. There was another, I did not know. I went to a cinema critic, because my knowledge of cinema is so bad. I went to a critic and asked him. He said there was a person called Shyamlal. I had not heard the name also. Probably you had not heard of the name. Shyamlal was hero number 1 of Hindi movies in 1940. The silent movies of those days. If I ask who knows Shyamlal, nobody knows Shyamlal. But today know who is 1, 2, 3, 4. I told them, if I ask the students of Mumbai, in 2050, who was hero number 1 of 2011 and 12? They say, we don't know. As we don't know who was hero number 1 of 1940s, hero number 1 of 1912 would not be known in 2050. That means that is not success. But see, these people I mentioned, from Rama to Basavanna Shankaracharya I mentioned, these are remembered for all times to come. They lived here 5,000 years ago. But still we remember. That means I come to a conclusion, greater your contribution to society, greater the art of giving, you are remembered for a longer period. There is an interesting story in our Upanishads. Very interesting story. How beautiful it is. A person, a king, lives a very pious life. And then he does so much of good work, donation, charities, everything, he gives so much. Finally he dies and goes to heaven. He thinks he is going to stay in heaven for all times to come. He lives for a few years, maybe 100 years or 200 years. That is heaven time. And then one day the heaven keeper comes and says, your time is up, tomorrow you should go down. He said, my God, I have done so much work. I have done so much of donations and all that. He said, yes. There is a simple rule in heaven. Whatever giving you have done on earth, as long as people remember who has contributed, as long as people remember the name of the giver, you will be in heaven. The day there is nobody to remember you, you will be out of the heaven. And he says, I'll give you a concession, you can go back to earth and see if anybody remembers you. If remembers, come back, I'll take you. This fellow goes to his place and the whole thing is changed. Whole city is changed. He can't recognize. He goes and asks, was there a king like this? He said, I don't know. I don't remember the name at all. He goes to oldest man and asks, story is very interesting. Oldest man, he says, I don't remember a king like that. It happened many, many centuries ago. We don't remember. But there is one owl there. Outside the village near the water tank, there is one owl there on top of the tree. It is supposed to be very, very old. It may know. He goes and asks the owl, which is very old compared to this very old man in the town. And owl says, I don't think I've heard the name also. But there is one solution. Outside the city, there is a huge lake. In the lake, there is a tortoise. The tortoise is supposed to be much, 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 much older than me. If anybody knows, it must be he. Otherwise, nobody can know. You go there. And this king, in the last hope, goes there and shouts and shouts. After some time, slowly the tortoise comes to the shore. And he says, have you heard of this king? The tortoise thought for himself, yes, I remember the name. Yes, he was a king here. Good man. And we are all here alive because of him. I said, why? He built this tank. Then the king cracked his head and said, I have not built this tank at all. I have not built the tank at all. I have not built it. I am the king. He said, I don't know. Tortoise said, I don't know. But all of us have a belief that he built the tank. You know why? How you built it? You did not plan it. Every day, because you wanted heaven, every day you used to donate cows to poor people. They would take the cows away from the city. And the cows refused to go to a strange place, you know. They are reluctant to go. Those fellows will pull and the cows will pull back, and pulling up and down, a tank has been formed. And we are here. Whether you like it or not, consciously or unconsciously, you built this tank and we are remembering you and we are grateful to you because you built it. Immediately he saw a hand on his shoulder, turned back. The heaven keeper had come. Come, there are some more people remembering you. Come, your time is there. Message is so beautiful. You can be in heaven as long as people remember your contribution. If you make a small contribution, perhaps you return halfway through. You don't even go to heaven. Come back because nobody would forget after that. That story is very simple. You make a contribution so small, you will remember for a small time. Your contribution is longer, you are remembered for a long time. So the way people remember you is proportional to the giving that you do. Now understand why Rama to Basavanna are remembered for such a long time, because their contribution is magnificent. Krishna tells us a beautiful thing in Bhagavad Gita as a dhyana shloka. Dhyana shlokas, 10 shlokas are there. One of the shloka is very common. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Krishna Kamsa Chanura Mardhanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadguru. Very simple story. If you see, Sanskrit is so easy. Vasudeva Sutam Devam, son of Vasudeva. Kamsa Chanura Mardhanam, he killed Kamsa and Chanura. Devaki Paramanandam, mother was very happy. Krishnam Vande Jagadguru. I salute that great master. But to me it looks totally different. It looks totally different. Its meaning is totally different. Vasudeva Suta, okay, Vasudeva's son. Devaki Paramanandam. I'll ask this question very seriously to most of us. Remember, Krishna had two mothers. One biological mother, other is a mother who carried him in childhood. Devaki was in the jail all the time. It was Yashoda who brought him up in Vrindavan. The shloka says Devaki Paramanandam, not Yashoda Paramanandam. Yashoda would be happy. Anybody would be happy playing with small children. But Devaki was happy. That means he had done such wonderful job, the mother is supremely happy about the performance of the child. I ask a question in 21st century, how many of us give that kind of joy to our mother or father? Most of them languish in the old age homes. I can say, I can't spare time for you. I can give money and put you in an old age home, maybe air conditioned, fully furnished, sterilized, I can put you. The mother does not want sterilized, air conditioned old age home. She wants the presence of a son. Many a times I have seen parents are not respected. Sometimes there is a beautiful verse in Mahabharata where Gandhari says, Purva Janma Kritam Papam Putra Rupena Pidate. All that did I bad in the previous lives is coming in the form of my son today. We don't appreciate the son. Are we sons and daughters who will make our parents feel so joy? First, give your love to your immediate family members. First, this is the meaning of the shloka. Second is, it is not enough if you give only to your family members. Kamsa Chanura Mardhanam. He destroyed the two bad elements in society. Therefore, when you are living on earth, you should not only be good to your family members, but should also be good to the immediate society in which you live. Kamsa Chanura. Do something to society in which you exist. And third and most important, it is not enough if you do something to society today. Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. What Krishna gave us, one Bhagavad Gita is enough for next 10,000 years. In fact, I am trying to write a book on all management principles in Bhagavad Gita. All that we talk in Harvard. I had the privilege of teaching in Harvard also. All these Harvard reviews that we get can be found in Bhagavad Gita. Everything, I am not exaggerating. I am not trying to just support Bhagavad Gita because it is a great work. No, you can evaluate it every shloka by shloka, 700 verses. You can rewrite the entire management text. That kind of Gita Krishna has given. Therefore, what you do to your family, what you do to your immediate society, and last important, what you leave behind for the society that comes after you. Can you leave some footprints on the sand of time or just vanish? Most of us don't even know who lived next to us. Is it not right? Can we make such contribution that, yes, people remember? Socrates says very harshly, success of a man's life is measured by the number of people cry when he dies. Do you feel people be happy that you died, or people feel sad? If more people feel you contributed so much to society, to that extent you are successful. Krishna's message is, be good to your family. Be good to the society in which you live, and leave something behind for the society that comes after you. What a lovely message in one shloka. I found it. The giving is an art. And what to give? Some people give money only. Money is one. Material is one. Simple aspect you can give. Whatever I have, I can give part of it. The desire to give is most important. I'll share a small example. How much time I have? What time should I stop? Pardon? 15 minutes? Okay, fine. Can you tolerate me for 15 minutes? Okay, that's more important. There is a school, I am not giving you any hypothetical examples, real examples. There is a place called Bailhongal near Belgaum. We have built a school there called Kalpavruksha Model School. There is an orphanage, and every year the owner of this school, by name Damangi, he would give some money, 5,000 rupees every month, every year. And one day when sitting in Damangi's house, they came and he was about to sign the check for 5,000. I said, don't give, don't give. Those owners were feeling bad. This fellow came and stopped us from getting 5,000 rupees. I told, don't worry, I'll compensate in some way. Poor people, what can they do? They went away. Next day I went to the school. I talked to all the children in the assembly. Children, you are fortunate. You have got parents with you, people to support you. But there are some children who are little unfortunate. Nobody to support them. Can we do something for them? What can we do, sir? I said, tomorrow we'll go, make placards, go from house to house. Teachers will come with you, I'll come with you. We'll go to every street of Bailhongal, ask every family to contribute one handful of rice. One bogase akki. That's what we said. One bowl of rice for those children with the placard. And we had our bags and went there. You may not believe, at the end of 2 days rounds in city, we got 6 bags of rice, 1 bag of tur dal, and 2 boxes of jaggery. We gave it. Definitely much more than 10,000 rupees. And the orphanage people were happy. Next year, the program is called Annapurna program. Annapurna for the children. Next year, children went enthusiastically. You know what has happened in the last 6-7 years? All the shopkeepers know that the children come for Annapurna. They say, hey, Annapurna, keep 1 bag, Baba. Keep half a bag for them, quarter bag for them. They keep it and they telephone to the school. Hey, Annapurna people have not come this time. We fix a time and we go. This year they got 34 bags of rice, all that required, and orphanage people spoke to me, sir, now I don't require anything from anybody. I don't have to go to anybody's house. I told her, ma, my purpose was not to give you rice, not to give you these materials. My purpose was, these 500 children who are involved in going door to door and collecting rice, I only hope, I am sure, out of this 500, 5 will be having desire to give in life later on. I wanted that value to be impregnated in them. Not giving rice and tur dal was not important to me. Out of these 500 children who went from house to house, 5 would be good donors in their lifetime. I should create the desire to give. I told the children, if you go and ask for yourself, it is begging. Asking for a cause is social work. And I tell you, out of these 500, 5 will become great philanthropists in future. The desire to give is to be created now. Give money, give whatever resources we have got. Giving time is the greatest joy. Many times you don't have time. I can give anything but no time. I have seen people, children asking, Papa, can you be free for half a day? Virtually begging you to ask for half a day. Give time. Somebody is asking for time. You don't require anything else. Give some little time. It's all right. W.B. Yeats, I don't know how many of you heard of W.B. Yeats, a great critic who introduced Rabindranath Tagore to the Western world, has written his biography. In biography writes, one day he was sitting, pretty typical English, you know, they don't go without prior appointment. Even the son telephones to the father, Papa, can I come and see you for half an hour? He has to ask. That kind of culture. Yeats was in his house. He found a knock on his door. Surprised. No appointment. Who is coming? He went and opened the door. Suddenly he saw an old man. He doesn't know him. But then remembered, I think I've seen him in the road, in the morning walks. I've seen him. He must be staying somewhere down the road. The old man, his eyes were red. He said, Mr. Yeats, can I come in? Please come. He called him. The table here, chair of Yeats was there, another chair was there. The old man came and sat there. He didn't know why he has come. He removed his spectacles on the table, held his hands and started sobbing like a child. The old man started crying. Yeats does not know, first of all, who is he, why is he crying. It is very unusual for an English family. He went round, put his arm. What do we do in that situation? He put his arms around the shoulder of this old man, patted and said, don't worry, sir, God will be with you. Don't worry, God is with you. That's all he said. Old man wiped his tears, wore his spectacles and came to the door and said, thank you, Mr. Yeats, I am going back. He said, sir, anything I can do for you? You are in distress, any problem? He said, yes, sir. Today, just now, half an hour ago, I received a telegram that my only daughter died in an accident in Australia. I don't have any flight today. I leave tomorrow morning. I was feeling so restless. There's nobody with me. I'm alone in the house. I didn't know what to do. I was feeling so distressed. I thought you are at home. I thought of just share with you. I felt little better. Thank you so much. And Yeats writes in his diary, what did I do for the old man? I did not do anything, but he thanked me. For what? I gave my time, my sympathy, my empathy to him. Just one word. Nothing to worry. God will be with you. My friends, believe me, most people come to us not to find solutions. They want to have a shoulder to cry on. Can you give that empathetic time? That is a great giving. Giving interest is more important. Interest is also can be given. Somebody is saying enthusiastically, you know what happened today morning? You say, shut up. Who bothers about it? Then one of the best way to destroy people is not to show interest in their work. They come with a drawing and say, sir, is it okay, sir? Come at 3 o'clock, no problem. That enthusiasm is just gone. Wait for 1 minute and say, okay, good.